So today I wanted to give a bit of a backstory on why I'm creating all this content for Inbound Bro, and I want to give a little bit of my why here. I've definitely always been a serial entrepreneur since I was a teenager, really, and I was always a sales marketing guy at every company, and oftentimes I had different partners, and I was always just kind of the person that got put into the role of sales and marketing. And oftentimes I'd hear people say, "Oh, well, you can talk to anyone, right? You go sell, right?" And that's funny because I'm actually kind of quite terrified in sales situations, and I'm actually a pretty shy person until you get to know me and until I'm comfortable. But anyways, I always thought that I loved startups, right? And it actually turns out I finally realized that my real passion is scaling up businesses. I actually don't love the startup phase, right? And I actually don't love going to work for startups. They're too early because there's always kind of a lot of craziness that goes with all that. There's founders, unless you started yourself, right? But if you join a startup, there's going to be founders who want things a certain way. There's very little infrastructure in place. There's very little in the way of like systems, right? And there's all these, in my observation, all these like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like sacred cows, like these things that people who started the company believe, and some things that just can't be altered. And I just don't love that environment. But the word startup is so easy, right? And so well known. I actually really like scale ups. I like businesses that have something going, and it's time to go from like proof and a little bit of revenue to like, how do we operationalize this? How do we expand? How do we grow? How do we generate, multiples of revenue? How do we gather data to make good decisions? How do we please our customers? That's more fun to me. And that's very much the HubSpot that I arrived at when I went to HubSpot in 2013. There was a lot of stuff set up. I mean, it was a 400-person company, don't get me wrong, but there was a lot that needed to be improved. And I find that a very fun kind of space to be in. So I've kind of I've done the agency, I did the HubSpot, I did some startups, and I'm just finding myself back in this zone where I'm very comfortable and where I'm happy, and I really just I love the HubSpot platform, and I love setting up businesses on it, and that's just kind of where I'm sitting right now, and that's what I'm happy doing. I've seen so much change of the HubSpot software itself over the years. I actually kind of questioned my personal beta tolerance there because sometimes I don't like change, but I always understand that it's for the better, and it's based on data, based on what customers are saying. But a lot's changing. So anyways, a background on me. I was actually trying to sell cloud storage, right? And we were trying to get more customers, and I discovered this inbound marketing methodology from a friend of mine, Rob Brady at Label Tech, and he introduced me to this whole HubSpot thing and inbound marketing, and very quickly I spun up an agency where we were doing services, we were providing marketing services for people that were doing inbound marketing, primarily HubSpot. There was a point where it probably at least half of our revenue was coming directly from HubSpot. We were helping HubSpot have successful customers by using the tool, right? And HubSpot was very interested in having subscription revenue. So that kind of worked. I actually didn't sell a lot of subscriptions, but I kept a lot of customers happy. We kept a lot of customers happy and successful with HubSpot by helping them get set up and helping them do the marketing, right? I eventually got acquired by HubSpot in 2013. I went to run the migrations team where we would migrate customers' websites onto the HubSpot CMS. It was the COS at the time. And I eventually built out a 100-person office in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It still exists. I still have some great friends there, even some family there. And that was quite an experience. I then left HubSpot after almost 6 years, and I went in to work with a cannabis tech startup. And that was very exciting. I thought the cannabis space, I still do think the cannabis space is very interesting. We're going to see a lot happen right in front of us in the next few years, as I'd call it kind of the end of prohibition here with cannabis. But it was a cannabis tech company, and I thought it was really interesting to combine this exciting space of cannabis and tech. And I was actually really interested in some of the marketing challenges that cannabis companies have, because you can't just, there's a lot of restrictions on content and advertising and stuff like that. There's just a lot of unknown. I'll talk about that another way. I could go off on that for a while. That company eventually got acquired, and I moved on, or the whole while I was working on an agency called Union Resolute, and we were building out, we're kind of productizing a service where we use buyer intent data to provide lead generation. That company's cranking away. I'm still there. We're having fun. It's growing. We've built the tech stack that allows us to be really successful with customers. We find it works really well with HubSpot customers or people that do inbound marketing, primarily because they have content. They measure their content. They know what's successful. They're good at their messaging. They know who their personas are for the most part, right? And it works out well. Again, that's another topic. But here we are today, and I'm in the phase of kind of spinning up. I guess I just went on a rant about startups versus scale-ups. I'm trying to scale up a business. It's called CBAT Digital. I've kind of always had it. Our audience is HubSpot users, HubSpot agencies, and what we're going to do is provide HubSpot CMS migrations. This is primarily for people that want to move on to HubSpot CMS, but aren't necessarily a good fit for the HubSpot migration process. We're also going to provide podcast production services, everything from helping you figure out how to start a podcast, edit your podcast, promote your podcasts, the artwork, the graphic design, the audio, helping people with the equipment they need, creating the topic, their niche, figuring out how to get guests there, if they want to do podcast video, how to help them with that. And then the third thing is this business that's been on the back of my head for years now. It's called Tweakly, and the idea is that we would sell these kind of small design edits for HubSpot CMS, and it's roughly like 2 to 4 hour edits or development based on, if people need random things for their website, and other platforms have just huge libraries of web components you can just grab, and that's not, HubSpot's just not there yet. The library doesn't exist, and there's just a lot of people that want custom work, but they don't want a full scale, development engagement. They just need a couple tweaks. So Tweakly. So all three of these are in the works. We're launching soon. We are taking on work, but we are really trying to ramp up our business systems, obviously on the HubSpot platform, and we're preparing to scale this up and really ramp it up through the end of the first half of this year into the summer and the rest of 2020. So if this is something that's interesting to you, whether it's starting a podcast, CMS, HubSpot CMS migrations, or just design tweaks, do subscribe, comment. Let's connect. I'll put links in the description so you can read more on these services and reach out. Also, if you're an agency and you want help doing some of these things, it may not be your core offering, reach out. I'd love to talk to you, and we'll see where this goes. And I look forward to chatting with you and a lot more content around all of this coming soon. All right? Take care. Thanks for tuning in to Inbound Bro.